How's it going, Jonas?
Well, I'm doing good. It's an exciting time right now.
Exciting time. Oh yeah, I'm sure for you guys, you have been like busy with the launch, and it's actually
Right.
very good. I mean, because you guys actually have something to be busy about during this strange period of being at home.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
we definitely we kept busy,
yeah.
right?
That's good. But like generally, is it very different from your typical lifestyle being at home, or is it like more or less the same? Because a lot of musicians I've been speaking to are telling me that it's actually not much difference to, compared to their usual lives. It's just that they don't get to go out on tour yet.
Right. That's basically the main issue, of course. But I'd have to agree, it's not that different. So since I'm also teaching at a school, since that part is handled like online, it's no problem at all.
Mhm.
Um, on that side, and yeah, it's not that different. I have to say I had a pretty creative phase where um, I worked on a lot of stuff recently, and it's I think it's interesting how, of course, depending on how hard this hit you or how roughly it is for you, but
Mhm.
I think for some people they tend to get uh, more on the depressed side, and others they experience like some kind of creative phase maybe. So,
Mhm.
and I think apparently I'm more in the later group. So, yeah, it was pretty cool actually. I mean, if I can say so. I mean, of course, it's not a cool thing that's happening right now, but yeah, and with all the Illumishade stuff that was going on, yeah, we definitely like we had a lot to do and a lot to finish up and prepare for the release. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's good to hear. I mean, obviously it's not a good time for the world, but then I think
Right.
what we can do is try to make the best out of it. There's nothing else we can do except for, trying to make the best out of the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I guess like, it helps that I mean, it helps your fans. Like, I mean, when it comes to musicians, like you doing like, those live streams, like the Show Me Your Radar, Unnecessary Shreds, and things like that. I think that
Yeah.
sort of keeps people going, and it's kind of funny sometimes to watch.
Right. I think that was my point because I was thinking like, okay, um, you see like people cooking for someone, or you see all kinds of really heartwarming ways to help people, like, and then I was like, okay, you really don't want me to cook for you. You really don't want that. That wouldn't be a help. But actually, if I can bring some fun into those evenings that usually probably were fun for a lot of people, like Saturday night or Friday night, if I can do that by just doing stupid guitar playing over a song that is already, or that maybe people just want to listen to, and they don't really care about the guitar playing in the first place, which is totally fine, because then it's what you said basically. I got some messages like, hey, thanks so much for just making, you know bringing some fun into our, just for some hours, into our everyday life that's kind of like depressing right now. And if, as long as that is working, I'm kind of like fine and happy to do so. It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of like it became a kind of a mini community, and people know each other in the chat, and that's what it's all about, I think. Yeah, if I can do that, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important because, like, like you mentioned, people get to know each other and people have fun. And I think this is really a difficult time for the world. And the best thing for all of us to do is to unite together, regardless of where we are in the world. Obviously, when it comes to your fans, people look at your streams from all over the world. So, I mean, it's kind of cool in a way that people across the globe can actually connect, just by you doing fun stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly. That's the point. Yeah. if they can maybe like best case they meet someone they haven't met and then they start talking like whatever happens. But yeah, if that's happening, I'm super happy. So
That's good.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's good. Keep up. Well, thank you for all that, and like keep up the good work. I mean, looking forward to see more live streams on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll definitely get back to it. It's this week is a bit busy because we're in full preparation mode for the Illumishade live stream happening next Saturday.
Yeah.
But after that, I'll have some time again to do all those funny streams.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
right,
Well,
right.
you gotta work somehow. You can't just have fun all the time. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, I
work
mean,
is fun as well, but
that's the thing. I mean, that's what we signed up for, right? Initially, like being musicians, it's just about the fun part. Didn't work out, so like not all the time, but no, but yeah, it's work is also mostly it's a lot of fun, so can't complain at all.
yeah, that's good. I think
Right.
the important thing is to have fun, especially if it's something we're passionate about. I mean, despite the fact that it's work, you've got to make a living, but I mean, the best case scenario is to have fun while, making a living.
Agree.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for all the entertainment you've been providing. So I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, have enjoyed all the good fun, and we certainly hope that things go back to normal. I mean, despite all this funny stuff and this creative process, I mean, all of us do actually hope that we can somehow re-enter some sort of normal life again. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, so shall we then dive into the questions then?
Sure, shoot.
All right, let's go for it. Okay, well, we'll start with like an icebreaker. So usually I've started to do something which is a fan question. So you have a fan by the name of, I mean, obviously you have like many fans, but then this specific fan by the name of Samuel Patokny, he asked this question. He said he wishes to know how you became Eluveitie's guitarist. I guess what he meant was like, the story behind how you became the guitarist of such an established band.
Right. So Samuel is his name?
Yeah, Samuel.
So hi Samuel. Right. Okay. Well, before getting that call, I was doing lots of session work, and it wasn't primarily in the rock or metal field. It was more based in pop music, country music, like all sorts of things. So since the country I'm living in is pretty small, you get around the scene pretty quickly, and people know what you're kind of doing. And I guess it was always like the guy that everybody knew, like that actually he's kind of a rock guy, but I never really got into that thing. That was always a thing that I had for myself. And then when I graduated from university, actually, I started music, and my in order to graduate, you of course you have your project thing, and you basically you have your band, and then you have this you do a little show basically, and then I went into this. It was kind of like a metalcore thing or a metal thing, and with this in hand, I approached Tommy Fetterly, and maybe you've heard of him. He's the guitar player and founder of, or I'm not sure if he's the founder, but he's the guitar player and main songwriter in Coroner. Mm-hmm. They're like an underground 80s, like a avant-garde thrash metal band.
Okay.
They've been hugely influential to bands like Nevermore and Opeth, and that more progressive side of metal, I would say. Anyways, I approached him, and I was just talking to him like, hey, I'd like to do something, and I had in mind to do something more instrumental based, more like this stuff that it would only interest you and me, and right, and then we kind of like I showed him some demos, and we started talking, and then he was like, yeah, cool, maybe write some more and then get back to me. And in that time, while I was basically like trying to write more stuff, the whole breakup happened over at the Eluveitie camp. And they approached, of course, because sorry, I forgot to mention, he is the producer of Eluveitie. So he did a lot of albums for them.
Okay.
Engineered and produced. And so when that happened, they approached him to have, options for people to audition. And they were like, yeah, do you know anyone? And he was like, okay, maybe this guy could work. So basically, he mentioned my name, and apparently also different band members, they got like a hold of my name through, I don't know, different channels of whatever. I mean, since it's such a small country, this happens pretty fast, I guess. And then so basically my name popped up like several times, and then they just approached me, and it was really funny because I was sitting at school, and some break or something, and then I had my Facebook open, and when you have your Facebook open and you receive a message, it like kind of pops up, right? So and then I see this weird name, like, and some kind of like, it looked like some kind of fake account, and then I was like, hey, this is Raphael from Eluveitie. We're looking for a new guitar player. And I was like, what? And then I looked at the name, and then I realized that he had his name like written backwards, so he wouldn't get that much, requests, And then I was like, oh, okay, this is no fake. Okay, cool. And that's how we got in touch, and the rest kind of like, is what happened afterwards.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. Yeah. I guess you'll never know. You'll never know where your constant hard work, or just the ordinary work that you're doing every day, will kind of get you. It's like, I think you didn't see this coming at all, did you?
Right. Absolutely. And I was really surprised because it's kind of like you're doing your ordinary stuff, and at that time I was really not like known in the metal scene. I was known as a session player, and people knew that I had kind of like a broad background, so I could adapt quickly, and I could be flexible, and maybe some guys knew that, okay, this guy is like, he's actually a rock guy, and he has his roots in all the 80s stuff, but that was it basically. And I think it was most of it thanks to Tommy, like that he told them like, this guy's around and you should check him out. Yeah, so you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good to know. So like, how did it feel then when you knew that you were going to be part of such an established band? Like, they have like a huge and solid fan base, they've been around for such a long time. What were your thoughts and feelings, and the pressure you must have felt? How did it feel for you?
Oh man, yeah, of course. It was like, what the hell is going on? I won't say that. Can we? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
I'll say.
Go ahead.
I'll say with what the hell is going on. Yeah, of course. I mean, first we talked about it, and then of course I had to do some audition process, and then when it was funny. It was like just around the corner here. We met in a cafe, and they just played a show the other night, and then they told me, yeah, we'd like to work with you and would be cool. And I was like, wow, okay, what's happening? And of course, at first, it's kind of unreal a bit, because you start digging, like, okay, this band is touring worldwide. Where have they played? Like, what's all the festivals and everything? Like, it's huge. All the dreams you had as an aspiring young player, that suddenly you realize that they are becoming a reality in the near future, and that was breathtaking, of course, like, because especially for a country this small, and we have a very lively music scene, no doubt about that. But still, there's only a handful of bands that manage to get out there and play like on a global level, like we do now. I mean, this is and Eluveitie did for years already at that time. So that was unreal, and it was like a huge dream come true. That and as you mentioned before, it kind of came out of nowhere. It was not like, okay, I see they might look for someone, or I didn't follow the whole thing, you know. It was like, oh, okay, wow. So, and then of course, a lot of it after those first reactions that I had, a lot of it was pure joy, because it was like, okay, at last, finally, you can live your hard music. You can live the metal thing, and you can play those riffs, and you can have the gain on all the time. You know, all the little things that come with it that are, you know, that are part of your true musical nature. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy doing all the sessions and doing lots of different styles of music. I still do that if I can, and I enjoyed a lot. But it was really like to have a focus that big, because you had to, because I mean, given the shows we play a year, or a touring year, it's just, that's the priority. You cannot do 3 bands that big at a time. You have to choose, and then it's Eluveitie time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's it basically for at least a period of time. And that was, for me, that was really satisfying to have the chance to focus on one project that would fill basically your like the big part of your year, actually. And of course the touring and the big festivals, that was pretty crazy. Like, I mean, I think in the year when I joined, it was the first time we played Wacken. It was my 10th show with them. And it was like, okay. I mean, of course, Wacken is just an example for a huge festival, but the thing they have is they have, you know, the double stage, right? Mm-hmm, they're basically like the 2 main stages are next to each other, and while one stage is being played on the stage you're setting up at, is like they have this curtain, but you can actually see through from your side. And so you can get a glimpse of what the crowd looks like and how massive the crowd looks like. And that's certainly like a moment I'll never forget. It's like, okay, I'm gonna pitch myself real quick, but it's happening, and just go with it. Just do it. And lots of great, of course, great memories from that first period with Eluveitie. And it was also really cool that everyone was really like, it was kind of like a family, you know. It's not that you see that you feel like you have to prove anything. Everyone was really like easygoing and welcoming, and so it was a really nice welcome, and really great start with the band.
Oh, nice. Did you have to did you get so nervous at the point where, I mean, when you first played Wacken with them, did you like worry that you were going to drop your pick, or you know, snap a string, or was it that intense for you when you first played Wacken, or was it just like, cool, like I'm just going to go out there and have fun?
Well, there's I think the string breaking thing, it was kind of like, it was the first time that I ever had a guitar tech, you know, with Eluveitie, and for me that was also a thing. So on that first festival I played with them, I remember just handing over my guitar to him, and we just basically were short introduced, like, okay, so nice to meet you, and you're in the first moments you're like super thankful, and until you realize that, I mean, it's a good thing to be thankful, but also that's his job, and he gets paid for that. Mm-hmm. You get paid to play, and over the years we became really good friends, and he's such a cool guy. His name is Szymek. He's from Poland, and he's got a really great sense of, you know, dry humor, And so I handed him over my guitar, and he looked at it and he was like, you know, it was like a white 7-string Jackson with a maple neck. So you know the maple necks, if you play them a lot, they really just, you see that you played them a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a really dirty neck, and he looked at it and like said, okay, I'm gonna clean this up now. And then he starts working on it, and I stared at him like working on my guitar, and I was like completely like, I don't know what, wow, this is like rock star a moment. And then he looked at me and he was like, you can leave now. Let me do my thing. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. See you later. So like a lot of those moments, like when you're just standing somewhere like an idiot and staring at what's happening around you, and you're like, okay, wow. So you know, with the string breaking, because he was such a, you know, when you see how someone works and you feel like, okay, this guy, he's on the job, he's got this, I don't have to worry about this. And he's always like, he has that presence. So that was not too much an issue, probably. So of course in the first few shows you're like, please don't, but then again you go like, oh, I have a guitar tech now, I'm kind of like, my guitar is invincible now. And at that time, I think I didn't even have a spare. I think we had a shared spare guitar, but it was that Jackson that I had. And I think, of course, there's moments like the first show, actually, I was super nervous because the first was like, okay, how is everything going to be? Because if you're used to playing, I mean, I have played, you know, I was playing bigger shows and support shows, and I was used to playing in-ears and everything, but still, it's like, okay, what's happening now? And we had that first show we did, that was kind of like a trial by fire. It was like lots of technical problems, and I remember like we went back like behind the stage for just a short period of time during, maybe it was a drum solo, maybe it was some kind of interlude, and I remember like Kriegel walking up and say, okay, we have to cut 3 songs, and like, you know, all that stuff happened on the first show. And so you're completely like occupied. Your brain is so occupied with dealing just to save your ass, like just to make it through the show, that I don't think I was wondering that much about the, you know, the whole pick drop or the string breaks and you know, losing your guitar, or maybe a guitar belt going off or whatever, all the classic stuff that can happen. But yeah, I think of course there's time and time again, there's maybe one of those shows where maybe an hour before the show, I go through like, oh yeah, actually this could still happen. But you get more confident in what you do, and you get more like, yeah, confident is probably the word. And then normally what happens to me is like that, just minutes before the show, I get this kind of calm feeling, so that it's kind of like, you know, the eye of the storm. So you just focus and you breathe and then you go. And yeah, that's basically how it developed, I would say. So,
oh, nice.
But to be honest with you, for me, that maybe I got lucky here, but I was never like, stage fright was never a thing for me. The stage for me was always like, no matter how big or small, it was always like I felt like at home, kind of like I felt like a fish in the water more than other places actually. And that was the same with Eluveitie. And actually, if I'm honest, sometimes I think the small stages are more intimidating. Like they can be more intimidating to you because everybody's like super close.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's even, or I feel like more pressured or something. Or, you know, what's the worst thing is, I mean, I love my family, but like playing guitar, like at Christmas parties of your family, and everyone expects you to play like all the great songs, and you're like, yeah, but I'm actually a rock player and I don't sing. Like, what do you want me to do? And then you kind of like go, okay, I tried to do something like, I don't know, what would someone do? And it's like super awkward, and you have those expectations, and then yeah, that's my thing. I always try to find like excuses not to have to play at a Christmas party. Yeah, no, but that's a bit my thing. I think to be on the stage, it gives me a lot of joy, that the joy overweighs the nervousness probably, and the stage, yeah, and I think you know, a healthy dose of nervousness is always, I mean, you need to have that. You need to have the adrenaline pumping,
Exactly.
and then you'll put on the show you need, right?
Yeah, that's quite true. It's kind of funny that, you know, the stage feels more at home musically for you than home, like your actual home, if you get what I mean.
It's strange, but sometimes I do have the feeling that I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe this is also a thing to change over like in the coming years, but it's kind of my, also as a musician, I'm more at home in stage situations where you just play and you're in the moment, and what you play is what you play.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really, I always have to discipline like myself when I have to relearn parts that I record in the studio to really, like, you know, play them exactly as they're supposed to be. To be honest, I really don't think it's how to say, I like to vary like parts a bit here and there, because I think it's probably where I come from. My influences do that as well. Of course, you have those parts where it's like this part is laid out like in a certain way, and you have to play a part of like the melody part of the solo, because it's like a composition. But here and there, if you can, you know, make it your, even a variation of yourself in that moment, because that's what happened. That's just what you played, or what you, where your fingers led you, or what you thought you should play at that moment. I like that, and I like to see that in players, like, or in concerts, when it's like it's unmistakably a live show, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
trying to copy the album.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really feel like, I really feel at home on stage, just and having to be spontaneous and having to be flexible. This is something that I look forward to, actually.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's quite true, because I think that kind of makes the live show sound like a live show. I mean,
right.
not that there's anything wrong with, you know, playing exactly as it is in the record. I mean, Dream Theater does kind of that. They kind of play exactly what, but they still put on like a great show, because they're actually able to replicate like whatever's on the record live, and like they do it damn well. And but that's like a different approach, and but there's nothing wrong with either one.
You're right. Actually, Dream Theater came to my mind as well, and I was like, yeah, okay. This is what I would like to see them play exactly. That. Of course, it depends on the music you play, and if I mean, I don't know how you see that, but I actually, with Eluveitie and Illumishade, actually, to be to be honest, I think we're also more on that side of, actually we have to stick to the parts, because everything is really rich in arrangements, and there's
Yeah.
always lots of stuff going on, so you cannot go too far left or
Yeah.
right. You actually have to stick to the plan. and I'm not the best at that, you know. I'm really, I'm kind of a, yeah, I don't know. I always have to really discipline myself and go like, come on, just stick to the plan and try to, you know,
Yeah.
especially also like when now with Illumishade, where I do quite a bit more, you know, solo stuff, and it's more the stuff that I would say is it's very, the playing is very personal, and then when people maybe respond, like they write me like, I really like that solo, then you realize, okay, now you have to play the solo that way. you cannot go like in a total different direction. That's over now, and yeah, that's always a thing with me. But
Oh, well, we always know what we should do, but then part of us always wants to be a bit naughty and go the other way, you know.
yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
just
horrible,
normal.
but that's the fun part, and yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's all about having that balance there, you know, between having fun and being professional, if you get what I mean. It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go all wild and go in like a completely different direction. I mean, you kind of need to be at that point where, you know, you balance between following the plan and still having fun during live shows, I think.
right.
Yeah.
You sure? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was like, what is this guy thinking?
You're right. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Like, so then, like, apart from, like, the live shows, like, how did your involvement